What's up, podcast listeners and YouTube watchers? I'm Chase Lee, and I'm back for another review. And this one comes from Entertainment One, and this one's called Stockholm. And this one is written and directed by Robert Boudreau. He's also the same writer and director behind Born to Be Blue, the film about Chet Baker, the famous jazz musician with Ethan Hawke. Very good movie. Just highly recommend there. But yeah, this one also stars Ethan Hawke, and this one tells the story of him in 1973 going inside of a bank in Stockholm, Sweden, to rob the place, and he has people hostage. He demands things. He wants to try to get free and have his way, but you know how hostage movies work. And so, one of the people that he kind of takes a hold of as a hostage is Noomi Rapace, and this is kind of where the origins of Stockholm Syndrome were birthed, I guess. A lot of people will pinpoint this bank robbery as the one to kind of highlight this condition. And so, Noomi Rapace, she's a hostage. She's fearful for her life. She thinks she's going to die. She meets up with her husband. At some point in the movie, she's just like, make sure there's dinner for the kids and all that stuff. But there's definitely some fear in her eyes, rightfully so. But as the movie progresses, we see her start to fall in love with Ethan Hawke and really start to understand him and realize that he's not all bad. But in reality, it's like he's robbing a bank and he's, shooting people. So, it's a really great psychological thing that happens with Stockholm Syndrome. I can't explain it. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I think it's really fascinating. And so to see the film kind of loosely based on the origins of it really got me intrigued. And so, I never saw any trailers to this movie. I went in blind. I love Ethan Hawke. I love the writer and director. So I was like, cool, I'm willing to give this a shot, even if it was awful. And believe it or not, it's a good little movie. It's not going to have any staying power in terms of end of the year or whatnot, but I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time with it. There's a lot of depth to it, a lot of unexpected depth that I didn't even expect going into it, because when the movie starts, it kind of has this black comedy vibe. The situation is very dire. It is very bleak, but for some weird reason, it's just really kind of entertaining to see him quote unquote rob the bank because he's awful at it. And I think that's where the comedy kind of comes from, is that he's messy. He is an unhinged person, but he's not evil. He's just like a bumbling idiot type of deal. And so, you're laughing throughout the entire thing, but then Ethan Hawke is such a great actor to where he could switch on you and he could bring out that, kind of dramatic weight to it. He can bring out the unhinged madness or the sweet side of him. He's got that range as an actor to where within a 90-minute runtime, he can flop back and forth, and I believe it. And, Noomi Rapace, I believe her switching too. I understand where she's coming from. So yeah, it's one of those movies to where it goes in one ear, out the other. You're in and out in an hour and a half, and then you go on about your day. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's a movie that it's straight to the point. There's no fat around this movie. It's a very lean movie. It starts out with him walking into the bank. Literally, I think there's a scene of him on a boat, kind of going over his lines, and then he immediately goes in the bank and starts robbing it. This movie does not waste any time, and I think that's kind of the whole point, because you want to see how this kind of Stockholm Syndrome progresses, and you want to have that as the kind of meat of your story. So if you wasted any more time showing anything else, then this movie would have fallen apart. But I think in terms of making an entertaining movie, making a comedic movie, making a dramatic movie, a romantic movie, I think it's this weird melting pot of a bunch of different genres that actually worked for me. And for an hour and a half, I was never bored. I was always into it. And this movie actually makes me want to go research this syndrome even more and maybe watch some documentaries that are based on it. But in terms of almost like a Coen Brothers-esque flavor type of film, I thought this film was quite entertaining. Ethan Hawke and Noomi Rapace are outstanding in this movie. Very commanding on screen. Very aggressive Ethan Hawke is, and very sweet that Noomi Rapace is, and they're just really entertaining to watch. And of course, Mark Strong, he's always great. He comes into the movie a little later on. He definitely has a presence, but this could have gone south super fast. Someone could have gotten this script and someone else could have directed it, and they would have made it like an all comedy and make it like a yuck like Three Stooges type of comedy. But that's not what Boudreaux does. He balances everything. He tone manages everything, and I thought everything was just really fluid in terms of that switching gears abruptly in a scene and working. Because like sometimes that's not going to work with people, where you're watching something kind of comedic and then it turns really serious really fast. And Ethan Hawke is just so good and convincing that you believe everything that you see on screen. So a fun little movie indeed. I have nothing really more to say about it. It is what it is. Once again, it's just kind of there. It's a solid movie, so I'm gonna give it a B. Nothing more, nothing less. To be honest, I may not even remember it, but I think in the moment I had a pretty good time watching it. So, what'd you guys think of Stockholm, or have you even heard of it? Comment that places right below my face and let me know. And as always, guys, I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.